What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Checkwitz. This is the Kaged Review, and this is going to be my review for Blade 2. Following up the trails of my review for Blade, I said it was a really good movie. And I think really the start of a lot of different genres. I think that it influenced a lot of the superhero movies to come. And so with that, that means that Blade 2 kind of had some big shoes to fill. And I think it did a great job of filling those shoes. I thought it was a very good movie, and in a lot of ways, a little more fleshed out than the first Blade. I don't know if I would say it's better than Blade for me personally, but I honestly do feel like some of the characters and the main villain here are definitely more fleshed out. You can understand the motives for the villain a lot more here. So, Blade 2 was directed by Guillermo del Toro, which I didn't know. That surprised me. Wesley Snipes returns as Blade, of course, and honestly, you couldn't pick a better person to play Blade. I was talked about how Wesley wanted to play the character and kind of moved for playing the part of Blade, but I just can't imagine doing it any better than Wesley Snipes did. Chris Christopherson comes back as Abraham Whistler. Norman Reedus comes in as kind of like Whistler's replacement to helping out Blade, and we'll get into that in a second, named Scud. His name's Josh. Ron Perlman is Reinhardt, who is the leader of this faction of vampires that were trained to kill Blade. That adds some really cool elements to this movie. Again, we'll get into that in a second. Thomas Kretschmann plays Eli Damaskinos. Luke Goss plays Jared Nomak. Donnie Yen as Snowman, who is part of that vampire killing squad trained to kill Blade. And then you have Danny john-jules as Assad and Lenore Varela as Nisa. So, this is pretty simple in its approach. You have Assad and Nisa go to Blade's warehouse, and there's kind of a really cool fight scene between those two and Blade. But they stop the fight and they're like, look, we're here because we need your help. And so they go and introduce Blade to this Eli Damaskinos, who is basically the head vampire. He's like the lead vampire. And he tells Blade about this variant of the vampire, and they kind of explain it like a virus. Like you get a virus in your blood, you know, it can mutate and change. And so this vampire DNA has mutated and created this offshoot called the Reapers. And so that's a really, really big thing here, because Jared Nomak is the original Reaper, like the original variant. And what happens is they feed off vampires. For some reason, he hates vampires. They're stronger than vampires. They're more efficient killers. And so they're hunting vampires. And so the vampires recruit Blade to help take care of this problem. Because eventually, when the Reapers are done killing the vampires, they're going to move on to humans and everything's going to be a Reaper eventually. So they teamed Blade up with the team that was trained to kill him, and now they have to work together, and that made some great dynamics. And Ron Perlman and Wesley Snipes bantering back and forth off each other was a really cool part of this movie, and it really made a lot of sense. Gave it a little bit of tension there. Now at the beginning of the movie, you find out that Whistler isn't dead, and at the end of Blade 1, you assume that he's dead. So come to find out, he was taken captive by the vampires. They were torturing him. They bit him, of course. They were keeping him from turning, trying to get information from him. And so Wesley Snipes Blade, he saves Whistler, brings him back, and make sure he doesn't turn. But that added another cool dynamic, because throughout the rest of the movie, they were dropping hints back and forth whether Whistler was actually, a friend of Blade, actually helping him out, or, was his, his mentor, his, father figure type, actually, trying to hurt him now, or trying to set him up. And so you never really knew. And so this movie added some really cool dynamics about that. But the best thing about this is, not to give too much away, you find out why Jared Nomak has such a hatred toward the vampires. And you find out his reasoning, and it really makes sense. It also explains why he's as powerful, if not more powerful, than Blade. And It definitely gave you an enemy that you felt was a genuine threat and could do some damage to Blade, and that Blade would actually have to fight through with this one. And that was one thing that I really liked about this, is it made it feel impactful when things happened. And that was something I really, really liked about this. Overall, of course, you know what it is. Blade has to save the day. I won't get into specifics, but really good ending. I thought it was a really satisfying conclusion to that storyline. Very well done. I really liked it. Arguably the best in the series. I still think that Blade 1 was the best in the series, but 2 is a very, very, very close second. I would give it a 7 out of 10 easily. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where I'm at. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz. Kaged Nation out.